All right, man. Yes, indeed. Let me change this up a little bit. There we go. All right, man. Y'all, welcome back. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Welcome back. We are live. We are live. We are live. You guys, welcome back to another episode of the Winner's Diet Show. I am your host, Mac Solomon, aka Project Mac. Welcome back. Happy Friday, man. Happy Friday. We made it. Another weekend here. You guys worked hard throughout the week. I hope you did. You know, and we here, man. We here. Shout out to everybody tuning in. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a good show today, man. It's gonna be a great show. I'm feeling good. Started off my morning very productive, and had some meetings in, got some more things to do later on today. So my Fridays, even though I'm not physically working, um, my Fridays are very productive, and I try to make it as productive as possible. So it just sets the tone for going into the weekend, and just to finish off the rest of the week. so so yeah, man, it's been a very productive week. I'm a little fatigued. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting back into my workout routine from being off of it for so long. So that's always going to be a challenge, just getting back into the flow of things. But I'm happy to be finally moving and functioning in my normal workout routine and just my overall routine in general. So being sick, man, it really sucks. um, I don't wish what I had on anybody. By the way, I still to this day don't know what I had. But I hope to never get that sick again, man. So going forward, I got to take care of my body. And not that I wasn't, but just be cautious of, how I'm treating my body. I know it's the winter time, so it's expected that, people get sick around this time. So just being very aware of people that are sick. Try to avoid them. Always wash your hands. Um, just try to stay clean as much as you can, because people out here don't care, man. Some people just don't give a fuck. Like, they'll be out here being sick and just being around you like nothing's happening, and next thing you know, now you're sick and out for 2 weeks, and you know what I mean. So you got to just make sure you're being aware and being cautious of who you're around, and do your best, man, to just stay in a healthy routine throughout the whole week. So drinking water, take your vitamins, eat clean, work out, so um but even if you do all that, you can still get sick, which is crazy. But shout out to everybody in here, man. Shout out to everybody tuning in and tapping in. We got 26 of y'all in here. Make sure you guys get my free 7-day fat loss guide if you guys are looking to get in shape, right? Learn how to lose body fat, learn how to build muscle. We got that for you guys as our free 7-day guide. You can get that at winnersdietclub.com. Okay, if you haven't already. But shout out to everybody in here. Let me know where you guys are from, what city, what state, what country. If you got any fitness questions before we get into today's show, please put it in the chat. Happy to answer. So that's how we'll start it off. But if not, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please comment anything you guys would like to see going forward, any topics, any discussions, fitness related, please. We can put it in the chat and make that the next topic video. All right. All right, but without further ado, man, let's get into today's show, man. Today, definitely we're talking about the easiest way to get fit in 2026. But before that, we have our two segments. Number one, the Fit Report, reporting on fitness news, things happening in the fitness industry. And then the second segment we have is What the Fitness. So basically reacting to trendy viral fitness videos and Winner's Diet Club type videos, motivation, inspiration, things of that nature. And then we have the main topic of the day, man. The main topic today, we're breaking down the easiest way to get fit in 2026. That will be towards the 45 to 50-minute mark. So you guys can watch the playback, or you can stick around with your boy for the entirety of the show, and we can break that down as we go along. All right. But without further ado, man, let's get into the first article. Please, again, before we get into it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All right. And let's get to it. All right. So we got the first article here. Where are we at with it? All right, so this article from the New York Post says this is the surprising age when male sexual desire actually peaks. So let's take a look. Sex isn't just a young man's game. Sexual desire is a driving force in many relationships and a fundamental part of being human. We know that it can vary greatly among individuals. But what we once thought about male sexual desire and when it peaks has completely changed thanks to new research. A large-scale study published this month in the journal Scientific Reports examined data from over 67,000 people to 18 to 89 years old. The most surprising find was that men's sexual desire didn't actually peak in their teens or 20s, as previously thought. Instead, researchers determined that men's craving for sex hits its highest point in their late 30s and early 40s. Researchers theorized that relationship dynamics may play a more significant role than initially anticipated. They noted that stable long-term relationships have been associated with increased sexual activity and emotional intimacy. Another interesting discovery was that a person's background can predict their arousal levels. In addition to asking participants to rate their general level of sexual desire, researchers collected information on their age, gender, sexual orientation, job, and level of education. The findings showed that demographic factors alone, even without accounting for psychological or relational influences, explained 28% of the variance in sexual desire, the researchers wrote in their study. And while libido tends to decrease as we get older, researchers found it dropped off much more dramatically for women. Having children, perhaps unsurprisingly, can affect our desire for action in the bedroom. It appears to impact men and women differently. Women who had children had lower sexual desire, while men with large families reported high sex drives. This is in large part due to the hormonal fluctuations during pregnancy, breastfeeding, and menopause, which can contribute to decreased libido. And who was the horniest of all? Those who'd identify as bisexual or pansexual, an attraction to people regardless of their gender. What the fuck? Sexual satisfaction is associated with better health, fewer physical symptoms, and a greater quality of life, according to Shepard. Let's read this last bit here. Low sex drive can indicate a host of health problems, including issues with hormones, sleep, mood, vascular function, and of course, relationship quality. Okay. So they're basically saying that as you get older, your sexual arousal does not peak in your 20s as they have told us in the past. In fact, it's in your 30s, late 30s to early 40s. And I think that's only for the average person, man. I think that they're not accounting for guys who are actively taking care of themselves, right? Guys that are constantly in the gym, eating clean, drinking their water, limiting alcohol, just having a healthy lifestyle. I think your libido, yeah, it's not going to be as high as it was when you were 17 or 21 in your 50s, but it can still be relatively high for someone your age. Because I guarantee you, if you take the average 50-year-old compared to the average to a 50-year-old that is constantly working out and eating clean, is going to be a huge difference, right? The 50-year-old that has the healthy lifestyle is going to have a way higher libido than the average 50-year-old as his peer. And that's just science-based, right? Which is why I encourage men, man, it's very important that as you get older, if you want to keep that sexual desire, that sexual strength, right, you have to have a healthy lifestyle. But it starts with you right now as someone that might be in their 20s or 30s and their 40s. Like, you have to start as soon as possible, because it's going to be very hard to jump on that when you're in your mid 40s, early going into your early 50s, like the switch, that switch is going to be very hard to do. So, I mean, I know guys that still have healthy libidos. They don't need Viagra unless they want to, right? They can still go multiple rounds, and it's not an issue. But that's because they take care of themselves. That's because they're still working out hard. They're still eating clean. They're not pumping their body with alcohol. And yes, they might be taking PEDs. They might be on peptides. They might be on testosterone. So that also can play a role in sexual desire. So as you get older, man, you have more of these things available to you, so that you can still have the same, well, not the same, but relatively a high arousal as you get older. Because I mean, I'm not married, I don't have any kids, but from what I've seen and from people that I know that have kids and have married, as you get married, man, or you get married and have kids, yeah, that arousal will go down. You won't be, and that's just biological, right? Most men in long-term relationships, they produce more estrogen, they produce more prolactin because they're in a comfortable state. So they're not really out trying to, conquer, right? That's what makes us men, is the ability to conquer. That's why guys that are, driven and ambitious, they have a higher testosterone because they're always trying to conquer stuff. So once you get in a long-term relationship, that goes down. That ability to conquer, yeah, you're still driven, you still want to produce more, but the energy is shifted differently, right? So you're not out there trying to hunt like you did when you were single, which gave you that high level of testosterone and drive, and that's why your libido was high at that point. But as you get into a long-term relationship, these things tend to decrease drastically, right? So it's just biological, man. It's I'm not saying this is for every relationship, but just the typical average relationship, yeah, this could happen because of um your level of comfortability, and it is what it is. It's not a bad thing. You can still reverse it. You can still have a high testosterone, but you have to do the work to get there. You can't get relaxed. You can't get complacent. This is what typically brings down our testosterone as we get older, and that's why guys get fatter in relationships. That's why people tend to not care about their appearance as much because they feel like they already have it there, right? They have in-house booty, as they always say, right? So it's not a surprise. So you know, it is what it is. And then kids come into play as well, right? You have kids in there, and as I'm doing more research about marriage, and you see marriages and why marriages fail, or why marriages are sexless. One of the main factors is because people think marriage. A lot of people think that being married or being in long-term relationships are about having sex, and it's not, right? Typically, historically, one, marriage is about business, right? Properties, and passing down assets and transferring assets over. So it was, one, a business, and then two, marriage is more so about raising children, um, which can lead to raising grandchildren, or having grandchildren, and community and family. It's not about sex. Is at the very bottom. If you can have it in marriage, great, but that's not what marriage historically was about. So we have to understand the history of things, and then you wonder why you're not constantly intimate with your spouse. Well, you have other things to worry about now. It's just what it's about, right? I don't think people get into marriage thinking that, oh yeah, we're just gonna stop having sex. I just think it just happens because now you have more responsibilities. You got kids, you got daycare, you got you know t-ball tryouts, you got braces, you got to worry about bills, who's gonna watch who, vacations, and like you're not thinking about having sex. So I think that's what kind of frustrates people is they think, oh, we're just gonna be fucking all day, and then you get into it and then you realize, oh man, we got so many things going on, and by the end of it, you're like, you're tired. They don't want to. So, and this is why a lot of marriages fail. You know, a lot of adultery or infidelity happens. You know, it's for this reason. So, um, yeah, man. Sexual desire, you know, it's a very big thing. It can be protected if you, again, man, starts with having just a healthier lifestyle. So if you can have a healthy lifestyle, I think that's where it starts, and you know, you can figure out from there. All right, man, let's move on to the next article here. Shout out to everybody in here. Let's take on the second article. Where are we at with it, man? Where are we at with it? All right, here we go. So Beyond Meat just dropped or just launched a sparkling plant based protein drink with up to 20 grams of protein, marking a shift beyond plant based meat into the functional beverage space. The new product, Beyond Immerse, is a sparkling plant based protein drink offering up to 20 grams of protein per can, sourced from pea protein with 60 to 100 calories depending on formulation. The drink also includes electrolytes and added fiber, positioning it as a lighter, drinkable protein option rather than a traditional shake. From a performance and nutrition standpoint, the product sits around the typical post workout protein category, while 20 grams of protein can contribute meaningfully to daily intake. The lower calorie load and higher fiber content suggests it's better suited for between meal supplementation, hydration focused training sessions, or lifers managing calorie intake. Pea protein provides a solid amino acid profile, but is generally less leucine dense than whey, which may limit its effectiveness for maximizing muscle protein synthesis on its own. Um, Jesus Christ, man. I love the approach to adding protein and things. You know, we're seeing this now with a lot of fast food places. Chipotle, I think Shake Shack did this. Now you're seeing Beyond Meat, and to me, I'm very surprised that Beyond Meat is still even around, because that company has went under. You know, and I knew it was gonna go under. It was only a matter of time. They try to bring in this alternative meat from traditional meats. It's a healthier plant-based meat, whatever that means. I still don't know what a plant-based meat is really is. Like, what exactly is a plant-based meat? But I remember they were pushing that on us for a while, right? Um, I never bought into it. I never got into it. You know, who's to say it wasn't just processed meat? Um, with the label of plant-based on it to make it seem like it's healthier and better for you. But all of these things are processed, man. All these things are processed. I don't trust it. I never did. Um, and that company is trying to reinvent itself, but it's not gonna work, man. No one's really paying attention to plant-based things anymore. People are pivoting and sticking with traditional protein sources. Like it's just, I don't know. Um, these vegan companies and these plant-based companies, I think, are all in the mix with each other. They're trying to promote this new form of meat, and I'm just like, bro, it's over with, man. Vegans are transitioning back to meat. Every vegan that I know has gone back to meat. So that lets you know that movement was fraudulent this whole time. It was a phase. It was a cool little phase that lasted a long time. You know, it was popular in the mid 2010s. You know, I know a lot of people that transitioned to the vegan lifestyle, and great, man. But eventually, you're gonna come back to it. Eventually, you're gonna come back to it. The biggest vegan that I know, shout out to my homegirl Nat, the biggest vegan I know, even she pivoted back to meat. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know, man, this vegan lifestyle is fraudulent. there's there's no benefits to this thing. There's no longevity in being a vegan. These people are insane, trying to convince you that Cauliflower tastes like chicken, trying to convince you that mushrooms taste like ribs and meat. These people are insane, man. Oh, hey, look, man. I put these cauliflower wings out. It tastes like chicken wings. Like, what? These people are mentally ill, bro. I'm telling you. The Beyond Meat crew, the vegan crew, these two communities are mentally ill. I'm telling you. Nobody lasts in these communities. They're in it for a short period of time, and then they realize there's no long-term benefits to being in this lifestyle. So now they transition back into the regular everyday life of eating, animal protein, which has been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's not going nowhere. So yeah, man. I mean, look, you can put out drinks and protein drinks, but the jig is up, man. The jig is up. People are not falling for it no more. Um, they're going back to traditional animal protein, which is just normal. It's just normal eating, man. It's just how normal people eat. I'm sorry, like vegans and these Beyond Meat people are just they're trying to rewrite how people have eaten for thousands of years, and it's not working. Our ancestors did not worry about plant-based food. I'm sorry, not as an entire diet. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. But shout out to Beyond Meat. But yeah, that ship has sailed, man. It's not coming back. So they're gonna have to find another angle or another rebrand. But yeah, people are not messing with that, man. It's over with. All right, man. Let's move on to the third article. Shout out to everybody in here. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Where are we at with it? Oh man, okay. All right, let's get to the second or the third article here. All right, so this one says the worst thing a parent can do for their kids is to make life easy. Children who never lose, never fail, or never get corrected growing up fragile. Grow up fragile. 3 out of 4 young adults raised without consequences blame their parents or bosses for every setback. Here's why overprotective parents create underprepared adults. Resilience isn't built through comfort, it's built through consequences. The child who is never allowed to fall becomes the adult who never learns to rise. Growth comes from friction, not protection. Parents who remove every obstacle don't raise stronger kids, they raise dependent ones. When struggle is outsourced or avoided, the brain doesn't learn coping, it learns helplessness. Last one, neuroscience shows the brain grows strongest through trial, error, and adaptation. Every failure, every tough lesson forges new neural pathways for resilience and creativity. Yeah, man. And this is why you see a lot of kids that grow up, man, from like rich families or celebrity families. Not all the time, but many of them grow up, man, just weirdos, man. They grow up weirdos. They're changing genders, they have an identity crisis throughout their whole life. They don't really know who they are. And that can be from a variety of different factors. Of course, their parents are constantly traveling. They're being raised by the nanny. They barely even know their parents. So their parents are not there to teach them right from wrong. Yeah, the nanny's there to be there, but they're not going to discipline the kids. That's not their job. So they kind of grow up, one, entitled, two, not really knowing who they are or having any type of sense of self, right? They grew up kind of just uh removed from the real world and real world consequences. They don't have any discipline. A lot of them grow up fat, weak minded. druggies, is very prevalent in Hollywood. So yeah, man, it's a very interesting thing to see. I think it's funny because I know a lot of people, man, they want to get rich to take care of their families, and that's obviously very commendable. I think that's what we all want. We all want that sense of security and a way to give back to our parents and our family members, and just be that person that um can take care of people because you put yourself in position to. But a lot of times, man, that can create a lot of problems, depending on how the family operates. If your family was already toxic and now you add a lot of money into the mix, it's just gonna be even worse. you know so it's a double-edged sword, man. you know and I'm not one to criticize parents on how they parent, but I do think that discipline is something that has to be taught in kids early on. That's one thing that cannot be ignored or looked over, because that will set them up for the rest of their life. And that really starts really as young as, really, like, man, 5, bro, 5, 6, right? Because I know 2 to 10 is their developmental years. That's kind of when you see their personality and who they might become. And discipline is very crucial in these years. So um yeah, man, it's funny too, because I was having a conversation with my one of my clients as well, and we were talking about how guys talk about generational wealth, and you know um they want their kids and their kids to be good, and that's great. But at the same time, you really don't know who your kids are going to become, especially when you have a lot of money. Um when you don't create boundaries, in the process, because you're going to be off working, you're going to be off providing. Yeah, you'll have providing them with things, but are you going to be there to set rules and boundaries and law and order? Most times that's not going to be the case if you're a very, very high earner, and very successful. So in the process, like, you really don't know who your kids might become. You might have a kid that turns out like, what's the dude's name that got stabbed in Hollywood a few weeks ago, Rob Reiner. You might have a situation where it's like that. You know what I'm saying? You might have a situation where your kid, I gotta be very careful here. Your kid changes their identity. You know what I mean? So you gotta be like, there's no guarantee that your kids are gonna come out, these well-mannered, well-disciplined kids that are, um, you know, active and responsible members of society. There's no guarantee that that can happen, even with a lot of money, even with putting them in the best schools and having the best resources around. There's no guarantee for that. Um, you really just have to hope you choose the right person who you have kids with or marry, that they can help raise them to be stand-up citizens. But there's no there's no case that that's always going to happen, and we've seen that many, many times. So I'm not saying, don't strive to have generational wealth, but there's no guarantee that that kid is going to turn out good just because you have money, and there's no guarantee that the kid is going to turn out and keep that money, as if you pass on, or when you pass on, right? I can leave. Let's just say I amass $5 million, and I leave that to my kids. Who's to say they won't blow that? You know, who's to say that generation won't blow it 5 years after I'm gone? There goes your generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? So there's there's never a guarantee in anything in life, man. The best thing you can do, man, is just try to raise your kids with great principle. I was raised right. I was raised with principle. I was raised with discipline and standards. Um, I had great parents that instilled that in me at a young age, and You just want to make them happy and proud, man. And you're going to make mistakes along the way. But I think if you're a man that's never been arrested, you've never hurt or killed anybody, you don't have, a bunch of kids out of wedlock, and you don't have a drug problem, or alcohol problem, you're not assaulting people, I think you've done your job, and you have a job. I think you've done a good job. If you're a woman that hasn't, sold her body or wanted to become a stripper or anything egregious like that, um, I think you've done your job as a parent. I think the biggest thing for parents is like, I just don't want my kid to be a criminal. So if I just avoid the criminal part and avoid like substance abuse, I think you've done a great job as a parent, and they're well mannered. I think you've done your job as a parent well. You just avoid those three things. Really, I think you've done a good job as a parent. Like, no kid is gonna come out perfect. That's just not realistic. But you definitely can raise them with morals and principles that you live by, and that's very important. That the parents themselves have that, because if they don't have that, if they don't have a philosophy that they live by or rules and standards that they live by, their kids won't either. So that's very important, man. All right, man, let's move on to the next segment, What the Fitness. Shout out to everybody in here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All right. All right, let's move on to the first article in What the Fitness. So where we at with it, man? All right, so we got Planet Fitness is back in the news again. And it says Planet Fitness adds new trans shower policy. So let's take a look at what they're saying here. Let me refresh the video. Man. All right, here we go.
I didn't hear you.
There is like a transgender policy that's in place. So, I mean, if they're identifying as a woman, then they can
So if
go
they
in
identify as a woman and my 13-year-old daughter is showering, they're allowed in there.
Yeah.
How does that protect us against predators?
Well, I mean, certainly if a guy walks in there,
Yeah.
that's a big problem.
Yeah, but what if he says I'm a woman today? And he tells you that I feel like a woman today, and
That's
he
your
goes
policy.
in there and he undresses because he sees that there's
Yeah, and he's
Okay.
going to have
Right.
Yeah.
he's going to have a part.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I
what-
know.
have you-
It's
you-
all kind of touchy, so.
So
Yeah.
have you had any issues? Because there's already been 2 issues. When's enough?
Not so much here. We haven't policy. We haven't really had any problems.
So you're gonna wait until you have
So,
Right.
Well,
So what
you
are we
but
waiting
we're,
for?
we're doing, we're dealing with things on individual bases. So,
do the women that are here know that
Know the policy.
A man-
that
Yes,
a man can
yes.
walk
walk
in. I
in?
do, because I wouldn't have known.
no.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
don't-
let them know when they sign up that
Well,
men
men
can
can go-
potentially go into the women's bathroom? Do you guys make them aware of that? Basically, you're letting pedophiles walk into the women's
yeah,
bathroom. That's what they are. I mean,
yeah.
they're freaks. They need to. They
Yeah,
need help.
We just enforce what comes down from the corporate.
So I guess
as
we
far
can't
as the
sign our kids up
policies,
because
so-
Planet Fitness does not.
If that's how you feel,
It's- I mean, it's how everybody should feel. If you're letting freaks walk into the
be honest
bathroom,
with you.
everybody should feel that way. I think a majority of people would not be okay with this.
really had
Oh man, I couldn't imagine, bro. I couldn't imagine having a kid and having that type of incident happen with my kid in the bathroom, especially a daughter. Like that would send me off the rail. But welcome to 2026. This is the new world that we live in, man. And I'm not gonna go too deep into this topic. I'm trying not to be too political here. But because this is aligned with health and fitness and the fitness industry, we have to touch on it. But many gyms are implementing this type of policy, man. The gym I go to has this type of policy. So, you know, and this is very common now with big corporate gyms because, you know, whatever agenda that they're pushing, I don't know what it is, but a lot of gyms now are encouraging people to go into bathrooms that they feel like they align with, right? And that's setting a very dangerous precedent in general. And if you have kids, man, I would be very cautious sending my kids to a gym like this. And Planet Fitness is already a L, you know, so I don't even know why people even go to Planet Fitness to begin with, to be honest with you. I have no idea why people even go to Planet Fitness. It's a low quality gym. There's not really a lot of things you can do in there. There's the type of people that go in there I don't want to be around anyway. So Planet Fitness is already a L to begin with. So I wouldn't even be associated with a gym like this. That was the first mistake, is just even having a membership at this gym, you know, and yeah, man, it's unfortunate. It's the world that we live in today. Not every gym is implementing this rule. But there are quite a few that have this rule. And if you are signing up for a membership, these are questions that you have to ask. You know, a lot of people don't realize this until they sign up and they realize, oh man, this is the type of business that they're running here. So um I'm all about protecting kids, man, and I'm not for this. Me personally, I'm against this. I don't like this. I don't like the trend that this is going in. I don't like the direction that this is going in, but this is how we are living. This is how we are doing things in 2026, man. And it's only going to get worse, especially if you live in certain cities, in certain states. I'm not going to say what, but certain states, yes, they will be promoting this type of activity. So just be aware. Do your own research. Research the gym that you're going to. Call them before. If you go in there on your tour, make sure you ask these type of questions. But usually they'll have a notice on the bathroom door that if they are part of this, and if they don't, still ask anyway. Don't just assume, because as soon as you sign up, yeah, you can always cancel, but you just wasted some money, you know, in the process. So you definitely want to ask questions before. Know the type of gym that you're getting into on all surfaces. If this is a something that they promote, if this is something that they encourage people to do, and you are not comfortable with this, then don't sign up there. Don't work out there. Do not become a member there, because this is the type of situation that you will find yourself into. And worse, you already heard her say something. There was already an incident. And they still encourage this behavior to happen. So what does that tell you about the gym? Right? So this is not something that you want to, if this is something that you are uncomfortable with, do not sign up there. Do not become a member there. There are plenty of gyms out there that don't have this policy, that, you know, are kid friendly. These gyms are not kid friendly, man. These gyms are not kid friendly because of the type of people that are in there. You just saw a few weeks ago, I did a live stream on the girl that was in Planet Fitness that attacked an employee, right? She attacked an employee on camera in 4K. Everybody saw it. Everybody recorded it. She got arrested, but they let her just roam around attacking employees, shouting at people. But this is the type of gyms that I tell you guys to stay far away from because of situations like this. So before you go to any gym, before you sign up to any gym, do your research, call in early on your tours. Just be very alert, be very aware, have your questions ready so that you can avoid situations like this. All right, man, let's move on to the next video in What the Fitness. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All right, we're almost at the 45-minute mark. All right, here's a video When you're sober in the club and start realizing how pointless it is. I'm gonna turn the music off. Yeah, man. This is kind of how it is now for me, especially. You being there and you just like, man, what the fuck? You know, everyone's offering you drinks, party favors, everyone's getting lit, and that's cool. I'm not gonna knock anybody for having fun, but y'all know me. I've been open about this for a long time. I told you already. I haven't had alcohol in over a year. You know what I mean? I haven't had alcohol in a year. So now when I go out, if which is very rarely, right? Now when I go out, I'm not touching alcohol. I'm not doing anything that's going to alter my mind. I'm really in there completely sober. So if I go to any club, if I go to any lounge or wherever I go, any bar, I'm not drinking. If I'm there, it's going to be to go eat, watch a game, catch a vibe, but I'm not going to be in there how I used to be in there, lit, having fun, drinking, It's cool to go out, catch a vibe, let some stress out, be around some people. But where I'm at now in life, bro, I'm just completely sober. And when I do go to these type of places to go out, I realize why I don't go out no more. I'm just like, man, this is stupid. Why am I even here? Why am I even here? I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't, So like now when I go out, it's a whole different experience. The way I look at things is different. And I'm not saying I'm a buzzkill, but the way I used to approach going out, right? Just getting lit and turned. And it was way more fun that way. But now that I haven't drank in over a year. I haven't had any alcohol in about a year, bro. Going out now is different. It's kind of boring, to be honest with you, right? It's kind of boring now. It's just because everybody in there is drunk, is under the influence. Everybody in there is, you know, just turned up, and that's cool. But now you kind of approach going out differently. And I don't like to be a buzzkill. I don't like to rain on nobody's parade. I don't judge nobody. If you want to get lit, go get lit, man. But for me personally, I'm just not in that space anymore. And that's not to say I'm never gonna drink again, right? I just haven't drank in about a year, and I just don't see a need to at this point, right? Like I definitely won't ever get super drunk again. Yeah, I might have a drink here. I might have something cool here, but I might have something small here. I might have a cup here. I might have a drink every now and then in the future. But whenever that's going to happen, I don't know. I just know right now I have no need for any type of, alcohol I just don't have any need for it. So when I do go out, it's a whole different experience, right? You just see things differently, and yeah, it's not fun, man. The nightclub and going out to lounges and things like that, parties, is only fun if you're lit, you know. It's really only fun if you're lit, right? You can have fun not being lit, but the experience is just way more fun, and that's what it's for. It's not meant for sober people. If the nightclub was meant to be sober, nobody would go. You're right. It would just be a meetup spot. I don't know. But the nightclub and the nightlife is not for you being sober. So you'll have, just in general, you're going to have way more people that are under the influence than people that are not under the influence, right? You're going to have way more people that are lit, turned up than folks in there that's just sober. So that's just how it is. I don't make the rules, but if you go to the nightclub or go out in nightlife and you're sober, it's just gonna be a whole different experience, man. So just letting y'all know. All right, man. I guess we're at should we do one more? I think we'll end it there. Let's just go straight to the main event today. Shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to everybody tapping in. The main event, man, today we are talking about the easiest way to get fit in 2026. Right. So I know people are, hopefully, you guys are still on your new year goals, you know, trying to get in shape, trying to get back in the gym. And I want you guys to understand this, man. The fastest way to change your body is not a new fitness plan. It's not having a fitness routine. Yes, these things are important. These things are encouraged to have, right? But it's not always the biggest factor, especially when you are getting back into the swing of working out. The fastest way to change your body is by having a proximity of people in the same mindset or on the same goal as you. So that means you being around more fit people, not fat people. So a group of you guys that are out of shape, that are overweight, I wouldn't encourage you to be working out together. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying that that is a bad thing to do. Right. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but if you really want the fastest way to get in shape, you got to be around more fit people. It's just the power of proximity is real, right? They're going to hold you accountable more. A group of y'all that are out of shape and overweight, you guys might not hold each other accountable, right? There's already a lack of discipline already in that circle, right? So you guys have to be around someone that's going to hold you accountable more, right? And someone that's not going to tolerate bullshit and excuses, because they already see that you guys don't have the discipline or the accountability or the consistency just based off of your appearance. And that tells you a lot. So you need to be around more fit people, because fit people are going to have these things already they're going to have these things already locked in. Any fit person that you know, any fit person that you see is already going to have the things that you need: the discipline, the willpower, the consistency, the lack of excuses, the no victimhood mentality. Like they're already going to have these things programmed in them, because the same things that it took to become fit is what they used to stay fit. And that's not what you have right now. So you have to be around fitter people that have these qualities if you want to get in shape quicker, right? So I always encourage that, man. So let's show this video real quick of a guy kind of breaking this same exact thing that I said down. Where is it at? All right, here we go. So this dude says the easiest way to get fit in 2026, get around more fit people than you. All right, so let's take a look.
And the easiest way to get more fit in 2026 is to get around people who are more fit than you. Get around people and stick around people who take fitness serious. Everybody you stay around right now is the reason you look the way you look. All they want to do is go get drinks. They want to go eat. They ain't drank water in 2 months. Only thing clear they drink is fucking vodka and tequila. They can't spell water. You couldn't pay them to eat a fucking vegetable. Stop kicking it with people like that. Get around people who are more fit than you. Get around people who are consistent in the gym, who are consistently eating clean. People who are more fit. And you'll start to realize there's nothing different between you and them. They just have a different mindset, a different work ethic, a different set of values. That's the only fucking difference. Get around people more fit than you. And the easiest way.
Yeah, man, that's it. Very simple. Right. And this doesn't apply only to fitness, bro. This can apply to business. This can apply to making money. This can be applied to a mindset. Like the people that are successful in what they do, right? Whatever industry you're in, it doesn't matter. They all share the same type of mindset, right? They all have the same type of a routine. Like it's not by accident. You, on the other hand, you do not have these things, which is why you're seeking a way to change. And that's great. But at the same time, being around people that have the same routines as you, that have the same type of lifestyle as you, it's not going to get you there faster. In fact, it might hold you back because you guys being in the gym, all four of you guys, three of y'all overweight, just if it's a group of you guys that are out of shape, a lot of you guys are probably going to bullshit in the gym anyway. Many of you guys are not going to be in there taking it serious. Many of you guys are not going to be in there holding each other accountable, working hard, pushing themselves, like pushing yourself. It's not going to be what you think it is. So I don't encourage anybody to work out with friends that have the same unhealthy lifestyle as you, because it's just not going to work, right? You got to get around more fit people, man. Shout out to my boy Christian Robinson, man. I remember during COVID, we had formed this thing called the Breakfast Club. So the gym that I was training out of, independent gym, we were the only gym that was open in North Hollywood. So, you know, it was a bunch of us that came together to work out. And mind you, these guys, not all of them, weren't always the most consistent. I was the trainer, so I was technically the leader of that group, right? In that sense. So, but we all put together a conglomerate of guys that normally didn't work out that finally got together. So it was me, my boy Sky, Christian, my boy Trey, my boy Kareem. These guys weren't heavy in the gym, but we all trained together, right? And over time, we were holding each other accountable, but it started with me. It started with the person that lived and breathed this stuff, right? I was holding everybody accountable. Hey, we're not leaving this bitch until we hit 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. We're not leaving here until we do 20, 30 minutes of cardio. If it was up to them, they would not have that same type of mentality. So I had to come in with someone that has more experience in the gym in that sense and tell them, hey, man, this is how we get fit. This is how we stay fit. This is how we become the best version of ourselves. And boom, Christian came in, I think around 260 something. He left around 210. So he had a 50-pound drop off. And that was he lost that weight maybe in 6 to 8 weeks because we were training 5 to 6 days a week. So we were really on it. You know what I mean? Because that's all we had to do, man. We didn't have much going on during COVID. So it was definitely something that we were just constantly hitting. But again, if he was around someone that had the same lifestyle as he did, that had the same habits that he did, he would have never got there. The shit that I was saying that, hey, we got to do this and that, he thought I was crazy. He thought I was out of my mind. But I'm like, bro, this is how we stay fit. This is how we get fit. This is how we become a different version. We have to do what's abnormal to the average person. That's why we don't want to look like the average person. We have to stand out. We have to do what nobody else is doing. So yes, we got to hit these 100 push-ups before we leave. After the workout, by the way. We got to hit these 100 pull-ups after the workout, by the way. When our muscles are depleted, we're tired, we're fatigued, we want to go home. No. We got to hit these push-ups. We got to hit these pull-ups. We got to go run these sprints. We have to do what's necessary. This is how I hold you accountable. You're not going to get this with another fat person that have the same habits as you. You got to get around someone that's better. When I'm going into a different industry, guess what? I'm hiring mentors because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I don't want to have just more wasted time and trial and error. No. I'm going to go get me a mentor. I'm going to go get me a mentor so I can cut the line. I can go straight to VIP and I don't have to waste my time. There's power in proximity. There's power in being around people that are better than you in a certain area. Sometimes it's okay to just sit back, shut the fuck up and learn. But too many of us think we know it all. We don't understand the power of proximity. We don't understand the power of being around people that have more knowledge in a certain field than we do. You can't do everything you can't do everything on your own, man. Sometimes you need help, and that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to seek other people for advice or seek out other people for guidance. This is how you cut the line. This is how you go from general admission straight to VIP. I'm not waiting in line, bro. I'm not waiting in line. I'm going straight to VIP every single time. Every single time. If I got to pay more, I'm going to pay more. Because I value time over money. I value my time over wasted effort. I'm not going to waste any time trying to figure things out when I can just pay someone and help me to it and help me get it done immediately. So if this is how you want to operate in 2026, this is how you get fit in 2026. Just be around people that have what you have. Find a way to do it. And you can do that in any gym. Not any gym, but you can do that really in gyms that are more private. Because there's going to be more of a community in smaller private gyms, which is why I always encourage people, man, go to smaller private gyms. There's going to be more of a family community unit there where people are going to hold you accountable. People actually care to get to know you. They care about your first name. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to invite you out to different places. That's how I got a majority of my network, man. It was in the gym, in the small private gyms. Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive, right? But the value that you get out of that is priceless. You're going to make that back. You'll make that back through networking. You'll make it back just through being around people that push you to be better. You're not going to find this in commercial gyms. Sure, if you want to go get fit in commercial gyms like a LA Fitness or a Crunch, yeah, you can go do that. You can meet people like that, but it doesn't compare to you being in a private gym. I guarantee you, if you go to a private gym, you're going to make friends and build a network way faster than being in a commercial, traditional corporate gym. I promise you, I can bet any dollar on that. Any dollar on that, because it's more relaxed. There's less rules, right? And just people are more friendlier. People are more open to getting to know you, right? People want to get to know you better. People want to know more about you, train with you. Bro, it's so easy to make friendships in the gym, man. It's very easy. You just got to show up consistently and be around the right people, and a lot of times they'll encourage you. They'll encourage you to work out with them. Many people in private gyms, if you're in a private gym, most of the time you're going to find people that encourage you to work out with them. And this is how you get fit. This is how you get in shape quicker. This is how you get in shape quicker than you would at a regular commercial gym by yourself. So the power of proximity, being around fit people, being around people that want to do better and push themselves and hold people accountable. This is the cheat code to getting fit in 2026. Don't believe me? You don't have to, but just try it out. Try it out once and let me know how it goes. I guarantee you'll come out a different person in 3 months, 6 months. Like I always say, it just takes 3 to 6 months to change your whole body if you're consistent. Anyway, man, that's been today's show. Shout out to everybody in here. We appreciate you guys as well. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Man, it's been a great show. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Please follow us on all socials, Winners Diet Club, Project Mac. Go ahead and make sure you get my free 7-day fat loss guide if you haven't already, if you're looking to build muscle, lose fat. And man, we'll see you guys again next week. Peace.